So good morning dear students. How are you? Hope you are all fine. Utilizing your time and following the precautions. So the last lecture I have discussed with Coulomb's law. We have written the basic expression of the forces by using Coulomb's law in vector notation also, by using position vectors also. So we have concluded that Coulomb's law have given the force given by a general formula, that is K Q1 Q2 by R square. So we can calculate the forces by using this mathematical formula, and rather some vector notations can be used also, and along with that also we have applied the forces evaluation calculations along with the problems, different problems like continuous charge distribution also I had discussed. You can go for the problems like linear charge distribution, or you can go for surface charge distribution, or you can go for volume charge distribution. Accordingly, you can use the linear charge density or surface charge density or volume charge density, and by using these terms, you can also calculate the forces at a given point due to these continuous distribution of charge. You have different options for evaluation of such quantities, right? So now we are just continuing with the next topic that is also dependent upon the expressions of the forces given by the coulombs. So next is electric field. So electric field is simply in simple word I will define, because if I take some magnets for example, so of course it's not like that. When you are bringing two magnets physically in contact, then only you feel the attraction or repulsion. Before like this. So it has some area in which attraction can be felt or repulsion can be felt. It's not like that. Always we say when two are in physical contact, then only the magnetic field can be experienced. So just like the magnetic fields, we have the electric concepts also, electric field concept also. So electric field, we have some charge, say Q. So there is some space around this charge body in which its electrical effects can be felt. This is the definition I have given for the electric field. It's a space around the charge body within which its influence can be felt. This is called as electric field, right? So electric field intensity. The last lecture also talked about the test charge, that is Q naught. So I said the test charge we are taking, the value of the test charge we are taking is very small. We don't want that it also exert its own electric field in our discussion. We are not taking that. So we are assuming the value of the test charge to be negligible, so that it does not create its own fields and manipulate the field of given charge, right? So this is a given charge, this is the test charge placed at point P. So we just want to calculate what force will be experienced by this in presence of this, or what electric field it will experience by this given charge Q, right? For this we have a term that is called as electric field intensity. So it is defined as the force experienced by unit positive charge placed at that point. So electric field intensity is simply, if you have some given charge and you are bringing some charge nearby, what amount of force per unit charge it is experiencing. That is called as electric field intensity, right? So simple formula is force per unit test charge. So what amount of force is being experienced by this charge, that is defined as electric field intensity. So electric field intensity, in some way you may see the notation also like this is a mathematical expression, like it's a limit Q naught tends to 0. We speak like this, limit Q naught tends to 0. What does it means? It just means that the value of the test charge is assumed to be very small, but not exactly equal to 0. Because if it is considered as 0 also, mathematically also, it makes a infinite. That does not make any logic. So we are assuming that physically also we can say that we just don't want that it also creates its own field in our discussions. That's why I'm saying that we are assuming the value of test charge to be very, very small, right? So that's why you can also write in this way also, limit Q naught tends to 0, force per unit charge F by Q naught, or simply you can also write in this way also, that is F by Q naught. And again, by using Coulomb's law, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught divided by R square in R cap. This is the expression of the force as given by the Coulomb's law, as we had already discussed in the last lecture. So just putting up the value of the force, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by R square into R cap divided by Q naught. Q naught get cancelled, we get a simpler expression of the electric field intensity, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square, or simply KQ by R square. And you are very much aware of the value of the K, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is equivalent to 9 into 10 raised to power 9 coulomb square per meter square. So in numerical also, if you are given with the value of the charge, you are given the value of the R, you can evaluate what amount of electric field intensity will be exerted by this system of given charge. So this is the first basic concept of electric field. What is electric field and what is the electric field intensity? That is force experienced by a test charge by a given charge. That is defined as electric field intensity. So this is the basic formula, basic definition of the electric field intensity. And electric field intensity obviously a vector quantity. So its direction will be in the direction of the force, right? So units, that is newtons per coulomb. These are the units, newtons per coulomb. And this is a dimensional formula. You can go for dimensional formula force and as well as from charge and divide the two quantities. You will get N1 and 1 T minus 3 A minus 1. Such type of short question you should keep in mind, because from board point of view also you are getting the OTQ objective type question this time. So these type of short questions you should focus upon along with the derivations also, right? So this is the basic formula for electric field intensity, that is F by Q naught. Now continuing with the next topic. So we are already done with the superposition principle in the forces also. Similar to electric field also you can apply for superposition principle, that if you have a number of charges in a system, if you had a number of charges in a system and placed at various position vectors, right, so on, you can take n number of charges, and again you have some test charge placed at point P and position vector say R. So already superposition we are defined in the forces concept also. Okay, superposition means superimposed. So you just calculate the electric field due to first charge being exerted on this charge, calculate the electric field due to second charge on this test charge, so on any number of charges, and just get superimposed, or mathematically I will say just add all this, you will get net electric field intensity being exerted on a test charge placed in a system of charges, right? So if I write the expression also by using vector notation of the forces, so we can write electric field, that is due to the Q1 charge, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught K, that is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 R minus R1 divided by magnitude of R minus R1 Q. Already we had defined this expression in the last lecture of the force. So simply force divided by charge, that is given as electric field intensity. By using this, you can write R minus R1. We are considering these two, that is Q1 and Q0. Similarly, you can go for E2 1 by 4 pi epsilon, Q2 R minus R2 divided by R minus R2 Q. So on. You can go for n number of charges. And finally, if you want to define the net electrical intensity on a given charge, just get superimposed all these parameters, that is simply add all these parameters, right? You can write in short form also, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon summation qi r minus ri magnitude of r minus ri q I equal to n. So this is the short form to represent the net electric field intensity due to the n number of charges, and this is called as principle of superposition. That is, calculate the electric field intensity to the individual charges, then summate all or superimposed all, you will get the net resultant of the electric field intensity being exerted on the given charge q naught. This is called as principle of superposition. So quite important concept, right? So this is a concept of superposition principle. So similarly, you can go for the problems for continuous charge distributions, like linear. Already I discussed in the last lecture, forces due to the linear charge distribution or surface or volume. Similar expressions you can go for electric field. Only you need to divide electric field intensity is given as F by Q naught. So you will get the expression just putting in the value of the force in terms of lambda, or in terms of rho, or in terms of sigma. You will get the net electric field intensities for continuous charge distributions also, right? Now, next main concept is electric lines of force. Electric lines of force. Now already we are saying that electric field is a vector quantity. So we had just framed the idea to represent the electric field concept. So electric lines of force is a concept which represents the direction of the electric field, right? It is being defined as it's a path along which a unit positive charge would move if it free to do so. So we are just defining the path of the unit positive charge. If we allow it to move freely, then along what path it will proceed, that is defined as electric line of force. So simply you can say that if you have positive charge, then the way to represent the electric lines of force is like this: arrows away from the positive charge. More the number of times if you are getting, it means the stronger the electric field is being exerted by a given positive charge. This is the individual positive charge. If you are taking a negative charge, then electric lines of force are like this: arrow inward. Again, if you are representing more number of lines, it directly implies the field is quite stronger, and if the number of lines are quite less, then it means the field is quite weaker. So by having the number of lines, you can give an idea what about the strength of the electric field is, right? And this is the individual due to the positive charge, electric field lines due to the positive charge, due to the negative charge. And if you are taking a combination, positive and negative, then electric field lines will start from positive, end up to negative, start from positive, end up to negative. Similarly like this. More the number of lines you are drawing means you are representing a stronger electric field. And this is a positive, and this is a negative, arrow towards negative and away from positive, right? So this is the way to represent the electric field lines due to the combination. This is the individual positive, individual negative, or you are taking the combination of positive as well as negative. And you can also go for positive and positive combination. Think how to draw these lines. This is a question for you. To draw the electric field lines for a combination of two positive charges. So think how to draw these lines. If I am giving a question, that is, you have two positive charges in combination, you need to draw electric field lines. Okay, right? So if I discuss some properties of the electric field lines, right? First, that is, already I said it is directed away from positive and towards negative. So starting from the positive, ending up to negative. Very first point, right? And second point, if you draw a tangent to the electric field line, if you draw a tangent to the electric field line, then it will give the direction of electric field at a particular point. So this is the significance why we are plotting the electric lines of force. This is the concept. The tangent you are drawing to the electric line of force will give the direction of the electric field lines, right? Okay. And a very important concept is two electric field lines never intersect each other. Sometimes they are both point of view. They are also asking for a short question: why two electric field lines can never intersect each other? The concept is, if two electric field lines intersect at a point like this, then at a given point there will be two tangents. Two tangent means there will be two directions of the electric field at a given point, which is not possible, because at a point, of course, there will be a single direction of the electric field intensity. It can never happen there is a two directions at a given point. This is the reason why two electric field lines never intersect each other, because if they intersect, it directly implies there will be two directions of the electric field at a given point, which is not possible, right? Then, more the number of lines means you are representing a stronger electric field. Lesser the number of lines, it directly implies a weaker electric field, right? And also, the stronger the electric field is, more the number of lines you will get for a particular charge, right? Number of lines is directly proportional to strength of the electric field. And electric field lines does not pass through the interior of the conductor. Very important point. You can also say, sometimes we say, during the thunderstorm it is quite safer to sit inside the car, because the reason is its behave as a hollow conductor. Electric field line does not pass through the conductor, so we are quite safe at that time. So these are some of the properties of the electric lines of force. So dear students, revise for this, go through the concepts for the concept of electric lines of force. In the next lecture I will continue with the new concept, that is electric dipole and electric field due to the various configurations of the dipole. Thank you.